Hello there guys, it's Miss Charlotte and welcome back to another video on this channel. Yes, I'm back with another Sims 4 speed build because at the moment I've been absolutely loving building in The Sims. I've just been a bit Sims crazy at the moment. Not that I'm not normally, but like extra like I want to play this game and this game only. So sorry if you're getting a whole flow of Sims 4 speed builds, but I hope you're enjoying it. So today I wanted to build something that I'd had kind of in my head for a while of what I wanted to build, and it's a modern black and white home. Well, I call it a home, but it's a little bit of a, I guess you could just call it a really fancy home, but I don't want to call it a mansion because it's not really, but it's pretty fancy and expensive and big. So I don't know what you'd call that, but I'm going to go with a black and white modern home, I think. So I've kind of wanted to make a modern build like this for a while, just in the style of having lots of square rooms and buildings kind of stacked upon each other. Don't know where I've got that idea from, but that's kind of what I think of when I think of a modern exterior of a house. So I thought, you know what, let's go for it. And it was always going to be a little bit big if I wanted loads of stacks of like square rooms, because I don't know, it doesn't look quite the same when you do it small. So I think I don't know, I think it turned out really well in the end, but it's too early to be saying that kind of thing. So first of all, I decided to add a little bit of a pop of colour because I wanted most of this to be black and white, but I thought it might be fun to add some greenery on top of the roof. So at first I thought I could do all the roofs like this, but then I just decided to do the first floor roof like this, both of them. So the one outside on the right and then the left that curves around the house. So I came up with this idea by just kind of starting with like the massive bushes, and these ones are so nice, they're such a nice bright green, and I didn't want anything with flowers, I didn't think, and then I kind of placed those as much as I can to cover up as much as I can, and then I went in with these little square planters underneath just to cover any gaps so you didn't see the roof, and I think it actually turned out really well. I think they kind of blend in quite nicely and it just gave a nice colour pop to the house, and I really liked it. Also at first I wanted there to be a ton of windows, but I ended up scrapping that idea and only putting a few windows here and there, although I do like the idea of like an all window kind of house, which I did build with my, I think it was a desert modern tiny house. It was, I think it might have been a tier 2 one. So I kind of did the upper bedroom like that, and I thought I wanted to do the same with this build, but instead I decided to go with a bit of wall space that wasn't covered by windows, because I think it limits you in like some more decorations you can put, so I decided to give myself a bit of room with that. The roofs, I decided to go with these really cool flat roofs all going kind of in the same direction, and came up with this little industrial roofing swatch I ended up using there, and then I wanted to make the walls nice and stoned. I wasn't sure about this one, I'm not sure if I stuck with it, only because it had a weird lining at the bottom, but I love the bricks on this type of walling I guess. I also wanted it to be a little bit different, with some elements of the house being one colour and some being the other. I like to experiment with this recently just to make it look like the house has a lot more dimension and structure and depth and stuff, and I really like it. I also wanted to commit to the whole fancy, very fancy building, so I lined the whole house with a kind of moat, but it was a fountain, and I think it was quite nice. And then I thought I'd give a little entranceway with some fountains, try to make it a little bit more fancy with doubling the fountains, but I went for these little balls because why not, I guess. But yeah, just adding a little border to that just to make the house look real fancy and nice. I also like these walls that I put underneath instead of having columns for the overhanging bits of the house. I picked that up from James Turner. He did that in one of his builds. I think it was the one with when he was making a build with one of the Sims 4 developers, and I really thought it was such a cool idea, so I decided to go for that with this build. I did want to add a little bit of a trim because, again, with the weird wallpaper that I used, there was a weird lining to the bottom and the top actually, where it's white, and I really didn't like it. Really can't remember if I changed that in the end, but I did end up being quite happy with the wallpaper and the different kind of variations in wallpaper that I used. I guess it's, what is it called, like wall paint, I guess? It's not really wallpaper, is it? Well, the bricking, stone bricking I ended up using anyway. I then wanted to have a little nice plant kind of I guess it was like a flower bed or a plant bed, which I surrounded by rocks because, as you guys may know, I do like doing that with my builds, and just to add a little greenery to the front of the house. And I do at the end go in and add a lot more kind of landscaping, trees and plants, just to make the area look a little bit more green and not so plain, although there was a lot of green going on already. I think that thing on the roof like compensating for a lot of plants, but you know me, love my plants and my builds. So then I started working on the interior of the house. I was looking for some really cool lighting, and I then decided that where the stairs were coming up, I thought I'd have it slightly open on the first floor, just so you can kind of overlook the landing below, and that way I could have a cool kind of chandelier coming down, because a lot of the chandeliers you kind of need it to be 2 floors up, or at least no, 1 floor up rather than just the 1 floor, if that makes sense. So I tried to faff with loads of fences and stuff to make sure it didn't delete the whole floor, which was a bit of a faff really, but I ended up being able to sort that out, which I think was cool, and also added some little trimmers to the end of the walls, just to kind of give it a little bit of a nice shape. But yeah, I went and put in a fancier chandelier, which I really liked. I was going to go for that massive one, but this one is so pretty. I love it. I wish you could see it on the first floor, which I don't think you can, but then I still liked it anyway. It's very cool. So I just added some nice added some nice lights everywhere, just to make it easier for when I'm picking colours for stuff, because I feel like you can make a really nice room and use really nice colours, and as soon as you put a light in there, it just does not look good. And then I went around trying to find the basics of kind of what wallpaper I wanted for each room. I did edit a few, I think. And then also the same with the floors, but mainly I went for the same wooden floor for everywhere, because I quite like that with houses, just so it doesn't look too crazy with different like carpets and floors and wooden floors and all that nonsense. I kind of like going with the same old thing, which I should probably try not to do so much, but that's kind of my thing. So now working on the kitchen. Didn't make it an open plan kitchen living space for once, so I applaud myself there. Kind of made a little kitchen dining, very small dining area in one, and I kind of compensated for the small dining area of literally having 1 little table, 2 chairs, by having a breakfast bar, which I think was really nice. I love these counters, and I really like this kitchen in general that I made. Very nice and modern, but kind of like industrial, which is like really up my street. I love that style, and I love that you can make it in The Sims 4 because it looks so cool. But adding little bits and bobs of plants and miscellaneous decorations just to make it look a little bit more homely and less plain. I feel like I could have experimented a bit more with wall decorations in here, but the windows that I chose were massive, but I did like that in the end because it made it look very nice and open and airy. And again, just like that's what I feel is very modern when you make builds, just like making it very glassy and open and bright. That's kind of my kind of take on modern stuff. And then just adding a few more plants because you know me, I love my plants, and a smoke detector because we love a functional house. I do want to try and make these functional. I know that sometimes because I use BB move objects, that kind of little cheaty thing, sometimes when you place the lot it can get a bit funky and delete stuff, which I did find after when I was trying to get some screenshots of the house. But I do hope most of these builds are playable, which you can access on my I was going to say Steam, it's not Steam at all, it's Origin. So on my Origin Sims 4, on the Sims 4 store, you can find me at Miss Charlotte, and you can, I was about to say you can buy my builds. No, you definitely can't buy them, but you can download them for free and play them to all of your heart's content if you wish to, which I think is cool. Now working on the living room. I know I'm really delayed because I keep babbling and then suddenly we're onto a different section of the house and this is a bit crazy. I think the living room is what I struggled with the most because I just couldn't settle on what sofas I wanted. I thought at first like, oh, maybe it's because I'm using a weird fireplace and so it doesn't match. But I don't know why. Making a black and white house I found really difficult with the sofas because having them all black was too much black because I wanted a dark fireplace, and then all white looked so plain and boring and just looked really like sticky out. I don't know, I can't explain it. I just really wasn't feeling it, so you can watch me really struggle. I was just like trying to get different lightings, trying to think there must be something I can do to make this look better, and then just changing all the swatches. I thought I could go with grey and then I was like, no, it doesn't look good. and then I was like, white maybe, or maybe I could change a colour and add a bit of colour in there, and I just couldn't decide. So I'm very sorry for this painful process. And then I thought, you know what, it's fine, let me add some plants and some decorations, and then I ended up just moving the whole living room anyway. It doesn't actually end up there, so plot twist and spoiler, I couldn't hack this one, but I ended up going with these ones. I did settle with these kind of, they remind me of outdoor chairs, like not outdoor, but kind of like on a patio. I did like it though. I think it kind of suited. I kept staring at it, and in my head I was like, I don't like it, looks weird, but eventually I settled with it and I was like, oh, it's nice. See, I even tried to use a rug to spice it up. Also, I really struggle with putting rugs down when it's a massive like room, because I don't want a massive one covering like the whole thing, and then it looks weird to put 2 rugs down. I don't know, I was just struggling with this living space a lot. I don't know if you can tell, but it was a bit of a struggle. But here I placed the living room eventually. I kept it here, and it was playable. Luckily, you can walk around or walk through the living kind of settee couch space to get to the kitchen still, which is good. And then I think I added a little fur rug here, which I think is cute, which comes in a really small size, but I upsized it and I think it looked very, very nice. And then just decorating the fireplace and that area with some more plants, because you can't get enough plants, you know me. And that was kind of what I was relying on for my pop of colour in this house, because I didn't want it to be too much black and white, which some of you may think it is, but I don't know. I was quite happy with how black and white I did make it. There were some like woods, like that easel was obviously not, you can't get it in a black swatch, so there are little things like that, but vast majority is black and white. But I feel like having lots of green plants really did help, so I was able to live out my fantasy in The Sims of putting plants everywhere, and it actually working well with the house, which is good. Not that they don't. I feel like plants always look good in a house in The Sims. Like, you can't really go wrong with plants. Maybe if I put this many, you can go a little bit wrong, because I kind of did overdo it, but I liked it, so it's fine. Now moving up to the upstairs, I did this really, really cool thing that I was so chuffed with, using these flower beds. I just thought it looked really cool, and it was a nice indoor addition, although I feel like normally people use that kind of plant pot outside, but I really liked it. It kind of like added a little bit of something to the corridor, because I know whenever I make corridors I kind of don't really fill them with much, especially the upstairs landing, and so I think it kind of used the space really well. And I also put a little easel in the corner, which I placed earlier, some more plants because we're not even going to address it anymore, the plant problem, we know it's there. And then I thought I'd add a little kind of sofa which matched the ones at the bottom of the house, I think. Yes, I did use that one in the end. Just a little sitting space, just so there's kind of a use for the upstairs landing. And then moving on to our lovely bathroom, I decided to make it kind of black and white as per usual, but a little bit more grey as well, with the kind of tiles on the floor and the kind of stone on the, the walls. I can't even use my words right now. I really like the sink area of this bathroom. I don't know why. It's something about the plant on the wall and that really nice mirror. I was actually quite chuffed with it. And I just like this bathroom in general, I think. So just adding little bits and bobs like towels just to make it a little bit more realistic, and some cool candles. Because I wish these candles worked. I'm pretty sure they don't, unless I'm being silly and I can't remember, but I love these candles and I love putting them everywhere, so I just increased the height and put them on the edge of the tub, which was cool. And then just putting a nice little rug in there just to make it look a little bit less plain. And now moving on finally to our bedroom. So I, again, like most of my builds, just one bedroom, and it was a master bedroom, and again very black and white. There was quite a lot of room rather in this room, so I was quite happy with that. So I added a nice little dresser and a mirror and more plants, because of course there had to be lots and lots of plants. And I also decided, as well as some paintings on the wall, I think I just went with one main painting, but I added a bit of a sculpture, which I don't use enough. The dividers and kind of floor sculptures I rarely use unless they fit on like a counter, a bedside table, or a dresser, so I decided just to add one of these. I ended up going with the more modern one, I think, and it's kind of like, it's almost like a wall sculpture because because you put it near the wall and it kind of looks like it could be attached on the wall. But I really liked it. I think anywhere fancy and modern kind of can have sculptures like that, and so I thought this build would be a perfect place for it. And then just adding some nice lights. I am absolutely losing my words today. I think I've very much proved my point, but I added some lamps and a lovely rug and some more plants just to finish off this beautiful bedroom. And I want to say this is it for the interior, but I'm pretty sure I went downstairs and started faffing with the living area again. Just obviously not the rest of it, but just the couch area, because I was really having a difficult time with it. I don't know what it is. I think it might have been the lighting. It looked like really beige and not really black and white, and I was just not feeling it, and I was just trying to try different things to spruce it up a bit. And then I considered changing the colour of the swatches and everything and just restarting that area, but I think I found the restraint in myself just to leave it, because I don't think it looked bad. I think it looked quite nice. It was just me being a perfectionist in my head, I think. But yeah, just adding a few more plants, and I promised that was it for the interior. Oh no, just changing the swatches maybe a little bit. Oh no, did I just leave that there? I don't know if I deleted that. That was random. Did I just randomly put a couch in there? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna have to find that out. I'm really curious now. But now adding some landscaping to the outside, lots of plants and nice tropical palm trees. When I think modern, I think really nice and like tropical. I don't know why. So that's kind of the plants I went for, just to spice it up a little bit on the outside and that kind of thing. I really want to try properly landscaping in The Sims though, because I know you can like add hills and stuff. I feel like I need to work on trying to experiment with that, because I haven't done it at all really. But here just adding some nice green additions to the little supporting walls at the bottom of the house, which I think looked nice. And that wall was completely discoloured if anyone noticed it, but I did end up changing that in the end. And then adding some cute lights and stuff. And then I went for something really weird. I downscaled majorly these massive bushes and decided to make a little pathway. I don't know why. I feel like when you're experimenting in The Sims, stuff is either a massive hit or a miss, and I'm really not sure what this is. I feel like it might have been a miss. It was weird. But that's kind of what I did for the front of the house. So that was pretty much it for this house. I was pretty happy with it. I think it kind of met my expectations of what I wanted to build. It was nice and modern with that black and white theme throughout. And I really did like the cool roof greenery thing that I ended up doing. I hope you guys liked the video as well. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what other videos you would like to see on this channel. And do feel free to subscribe to stay tuned for videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And feel free to check the description for all my links, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!